take a quick look at some of the highlights from the December Hong Kong International Numismatics Fair World Coins Signature Auction by Heritage. Before the more widespread adoption of fiduciary currencies, money was typically based on one form of commodity or another. Gold nuggets, or even gold dust in the American Wild West, salt bricks in parts of Africa, and in China, tea money, specifically bricks of compressed tea. In fact, this trade was still very much acceptable in remote parts of China and Siberia even well into the 20th century. Here we have two fantastic examples, one weighing 42 ounces and another weighing 32 ounces. Now, Vladivostok did not gain prominence in the Russo-Chinese tea trade until after the completion of the Trans-Siberian Railway in 1907, suggesting then strongly that these were made between 1907 and 1917. Each one of these sold in turn for $2,040 at auction in consecutive lots. One of the more noteworthy foreign pieces offered was a pattern coin of the East India Company, produced for the island of Sumatra when it was being administered as a Dutch colonial territory, bearing the date of 1787, only about a decade or so before the Dutch East India Company was officially abolished. Graded by PCGS as SP64, at auction's close, it sold for $40,800. Then we have a beautiful, not to mention unusually rather large, Chinese cash coin. To be more precise though, it is a 1,000 cash piece, produced at the Board of Works Mint probably in 1854. As the largest single denominational cash piece produced, it is already worthy of attention. But this piece is, I suppose, what we would relate to being a pattern piece, what is in fact called a mother coin. Remember that these Chinese cash coins were in fact not struck or milled as we know it, but they were instead cast coins. So a mother coin like this would be the piece used to create the molds that the normal circulation coins would be cast from. An exceptional piece in absolutely all regards that sold at auction for $66,000. The political turmoil and uncertainty within China in the 1930s was certainly not an ideal situation, but it did leave us with some fascinating numismatic relics of the time. One such coin is this silver dollar of the Szechuan-Shensi Soviet-controlled territories, a type of unrecognized proto-state led by the communist leader Mao Zedong. This was well a decade and a half before the communist revolution took place, keep in mind. The state itself, as it was officially dissolved when the Second Sino-Japanese War broke out. Graded by PCGS as XF45, this rare silver coin was sold at auction for $75,000. Then we have a dragon dollar of 7 mace and 2 kandareens from the Yunnan province, dated 1908. A remarkably well-preserved example approaching the gem level at a grade of MS64 from PCGS. Now, finding this issue in a grade of this level is almost unheard of, so it was little surprise then when it was one of the more expensive coins at the auction, with a closing price of $288,000 when the auctioneer's gavel fell on this lot. According to all available records, in 1936, the Republic of China decided to use 3 million ounces of fine silver that was being held at that time in the United States to mint large dollar-sized coins like the specimen seen here at the San Francisco Mint. You can even note the S mint mark at the bottom of the spade money motif. However, by the time that the coins actually arrived in Hong Kong in late 1937, the Sino-Japanese War had broken out and the Second World War was not far behind that. So most of the coins were likely melted down for other purposes, and so relegating this Chinese silver dollar coin largely to pattern status today. Here we see a PCGS graded in fact one of only 2 such known coins, at a grade of SP63 that was sold at auction for $480,000. A while back, I got involved in let's call it a debate as to whether large-sized, and by that I mean kilogram-plus-sized coins, gold coins specifically, can still be considered as coins, or are they simply just coin-shaped ingots at that point? On whatever side of this debate you end up, there is no denying that the 1995 Year of the Goat 10-kilogram gold coin, that's about 22 pounds, is an extremely desirable numismatic piece. And at only 18 coins reportedly struck, the closing price of $615,000 is surely rather well earned. It was not alone, however, as the smaller, although I suppose that is a relative term in this case, 1 kilogram scalloped, or flower-shaped if you will, version of this coin was also offered. This piece had a reported mintage of 118 pieces. By comparison though, it managed to fetch a closing price at auction of $66,000. And then, for the sake of completeness, the 5-ounce ingot-shaped 2,000 yuan coin with a reported mintage of 1,400 coins completes the Lunar series from 1995 with a final price at auction of $10,800 with this offering. It wouldn't be entirely unfair to say that the Goech or bamboo dollars, as few of them do even survive, represent the numismatic swan song of the Chinese Republic era, as they were in fact produced only shortly before the Communist Revolution in October of 1949. Though the design itself is a pleasing one, to be sure, the engraving was notoriously shallow in terms of relief, as seen on this example, as, dare I say, somewhat diminished eye appeal. Despite the grade of XF45 from PCGS, it attained a closing price at auction of $810,000. It almost seems at times that an auction of rare Chinese coins would be incomplete without a showing of one of the most famous pattern coins from the dying days of the Qing dynasty. I'm referring, of course, to the long-whiskered dragon dollar, the culmination, one could argue, of Beijing's efforts to unify the national currency under a single standard, not to mention usurping the use of foreign silver coins, which has become the significant bane of the Chinese authorities at that point. The example graded here is a Proof 63 coin that managed to secure a closing price at auction of $1,200,000. Remaining one of the more elusive coins within the Chinese series, especially within the Republican series, is the so-called Mukden Tiger Dollar, a pattern coin that takes its name after the popular sobriquet of the subject of its obverse portrait. Zhang Sulin, the Grand Marshal, as he was also known, was a Chinese warlord who managed to amass a great fortune and a tremendous amount of political power, holding sway over Beijing and Tianjin from around 1926 to 1928, when he himself was then assassinated in a train car bombing. Now, this coin was minted in 1928 and graded here by NGC as MS62 and sold at auction for a new world record price of $2,160,000. Subscribe to WNN and activate notifications with the bell icon to know when new videos are released. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, stay safe, keep collecting, and have a fantastic day.